Hi guys, welcome to another quest. Now recall from our quest on heat and temperature, we said that heat is a form of energy. Remember that? We also said that this form of energy can be transformed from one form of energy to the other and can also be transferred from one body to another. Now, when heat energy is transferred from one body to another, or it flows from one part of an object to another part, it is called heat transfer. Okay? So heat transfer can occur through three different processes. Now, these processes are conduction, convection, and radiation. So in this lesson, we'll be looking at the first, which is what? Conduction. And we shall also discuss the others in our subsequent lesson. So let me ask you this question. Have you noticed that when you hold a metal rod at one end, okay, and you place the other end on a heat source, like say a burner, the end which you are holding will gradually begin to get hot, right? Now this is due to heat transferred from the end of the rod on the burner to the end you are holding through the process of conduction. Okay? Now let us define the word conduction. Conduction is the transfer of internal heat energy from a region of higher temperature to a region of a lower temperature by the molecules of an object which are relatively not moving. And when I say relatively not moving, I mean they are not flowing, okay? Now, this can be heat transferred through a material from a region of higher temperature to a region of lower temperature, like in the case of the metal rod we just illustrated earlier. Or it can be heat transferred from an object with a higher temperature to another object with a lower temperature that are in physical contact, okay? So an example of this is what happens when you place a very hot metal rod on a cold metal rod. You will notice that after a while, the cold metal rod will also begin to get hot. Note here that materials such as metals that allow heat to flow through them are called thermal conductors, while materials that do not allow heat to flow through them are called insulators. Now, some examples of these insulators are wood, plastic, glass, and rubber, just to mention but a few, okay, because there are quite a lot. Now, some of the factors that can affect the heat transfer by conduction are the temperature difference between the objects, or the temperature difference between the regions of the object, the nature of the object, and the length or the cross-sectional area of the object or the two objects in contact. So let's give examples to help us understand this. Now, if the temperature of the hot metal rod is much higher than the cold metal rod, the heat transfer will be quick. But if the temperature of both rods is almost the same, then the heat transfer will be slow. Also, if the cold rod from our illustration is made of, say, steel, the heat transfer will be different compared to if the metal rod is made of copper. So what you will notice is that the heat transfer will be faster for the rod made of copper than if the rod is made of steel. This is because copper has a greater thermal conductivity than steel. So let's summarize what we learned today. We learned that heat energy can be transferred by conduction, convection, or through radiation. We also learned that conduction is the transfer of the internal heat energy from a region of a higher temperature to a region of a lower temperature by the molecules of an object which are not relatively moving. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson for the other two modes of heat transfer. Bye for now.